Super Kicking It with Stephen and Greg fans, your favorite host right here. The Greg one there, Stephen A. 1181 over here. What a fun day we have for you. SummerSlam time. Way too early, Greg. But hey, school started early, so I guess why not? I was still thinking they were going to do something at the end of the month, but I guess we're just going to wait till payback in September. But I guess just the timing of it. So SummerSlam's here. A really good show planned. I know, there's been some talk about why isn't Becky and Trish on there, or maybe even Bayley and Shotzi. I just wonder if maybe there's a rhyme and a reason for that extra time for things needed. So I guess we shall see. Maybe a big name to show up, who we've mentioned before. Greg is currently just kind of hanging out with nothing to do, so why not maybe have him show up in the middle of a Grace of Walrus segment. So sorry, Becky, Trish, you might have got bumped for The Rock, but it's The Rock. So. Anyways, right. Greg, good week for you?
Yeah, it's been good. Took off on a little vacation while the girlfriend was on the business trip, and went down to Miami. I got to sit back in this nice swanky hotel. Holy crap! Because I'm talking about one of those 5-star level hotels with the valets, and it's probably about 50 stories high, and it's got like all the amenities. So I'm floating around like a kid in a toy store,
all inclusive,
checking out all the stuff. But man, they're as far as lavish as it was, they are charging you for everything. You don't even get a free breakfast. I'm like, what?
No continental breakfast. Wow.
No.
They write that on the Google review.
Exactly. They charge you $15 for French toast, man. I'm like, come on. Ain't nobody got
Holiday Inn or whatever enjoys a little free breakfast.
Yeah. Exactly. So
this is Miami. That's probably why, right?
Miami, right? Everything's expensive. They had this gorgeous rooftop pool overlooking the skyline, and it's all fancy and everything.
Charge for that?
Was that?
They charged for the pool, or at least you got in the pool?
No, at least you got in the pool. Yeah, you can see why everything's so fancy. Exactly. You don't want to go near the mini bar. Just for a Sprite's like $5. Like,
I was going to say that probably is $20-$30 just for a little shot of something. So.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're here at SummerSlam up in Detroit. Don't worry, we're not going to play any Kid Rock. You will be seeing Kid Rock in the opening. It's out there if you want to watch it now. I can't lie, Greg. I did have Kid Rock's first CD. God help me, but I had it, But anyways, that's before I realized what a right-wing nut he was. So I'm sure he was that back then. So I'll just say I like Joe C better, his little friend. So.
I still got that one CD, the one with all the hits on it. So.
Yeah, he had a greatest hits one, right? I think that's what it was.
That was the greatest hits one, but the original one with Cowboy and Ball at the Bar, and that one. I think everybody has that one. Yeah. But he's a little.
Well, of course, they'll be hitting it up for Detroit. I mean, they've been using the updated version of Born to Be Wild, which is by Steppenwolf, and I believe they're out of Detroit. So maybe they couldn't get Steppenwolf, the original band, Greg, to show a little love. So Detroit's big on music. I mean, they have a lot of music love. So I mean, Kiss. Detroit Rock City. So, of course, Detroit Kiss is not. Let's not get it twisted. Kiss is not from Detroit. In case you can tell by the thick New York accent and the very Jewish nature of Gene and Paul, definitely not Detroit boys. So
no.
Is there any good memories of SummerSlam, Greg? I know for me, it's all about 2002. You think back to The Rock and Brock. I thought that was Shawn Michaels and HBK as well, because that's when Shawn Michaels first came back. Came back after being injured.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the brown tights that everyone hated, and I think he never wore again because they looked very bad on him. So, that 2002 one I think was like the first one that really people talk about. I was at 2008 and that one was known for Edge and Undertaker Hell in a Cell. Edge obviously lost, and I think Edge went away for a little bit just to kind of get better or whatever. So also there was John Cena and Batista, one of the first meetings of their time. So and then I think that was the Shawn Michaels and HBK segment where Shawn Michaels' wife got hit, a little rougher. Like she was supposed to take a fall, Greg, but I think Jericho laid in a little too much, and HBK was legitimately upset. So yeah, that one, 2008. I think it was here at Indianapolis at the visit. So have
Nice.
you attended SummerSlam, Greg, or just WrestleMania?
Just WrestleMania. I haven't been to a SummerSlam yet. I've been to a WrestleMania and a Royal Rumble,
Royal Rumble, that's
but
right.
not a SummerSlam yet. So this on the list for sure.
Any good SummerSlam memories for you?
I think not specifically. I just know that SummerSlam is on the level of WrestleMania when it comes to the big moments and the big, those guys coming back from injury and having that big moment. I think last few years they've been really big on that, because wasn't that SummerSlam last year that Becky came back and we had the damage control debut.
Yep.
Then the year before that, we had a couple other big returns. So I expect some more big returns to come tonight too. So
actually, Roman came back 3 years ago, and then won the title the next month, and that's when the Roman Reigns heel that with Paul Heyman. So that was the big moment. So and it's always just kind of like a good. It feels like a Labor Day celebration for us wrestling fans. That's why I'm like, it feels so early, because usually it's that week before or a couple weeks before. Dan TheOne, the Lion, is in Southern Indiana. I believe he's working down there for some MMA stuff or some bare knuckles fighting. So good to see him check in there, and we'll definitely have to see what comments he brings up there. We'll see if Big Ben shows up. I saw Big Ben on another show the other night, Greg. So Big Ben is a fan of all of our shows, which is awesome to see. So,
nice. And you should have sent Dan the address so you could have sat in with you.
Exactly, definitely. Southern Indiana Combat Productions. Sorry, there we go. I knew it was something along those lines. We're proud partners with that. So Dan is definitely working hard down there in Southern Indiana. Let's just kick it off, Greg. I think we all know who we want to win the SummerSlam Battle Royal. Now, this is the one, Greg, that we definitely have to have LA Knight win. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no reason not to do it, right?
Right. I mean, it's right there. I mean, nobody's hotter right now. The Bloodline story is a Bloodline story, but right now, nobody's getting bigger pops than LA Knight.
Slipping off ropes last night.
Oh, well, yeah. We're gonna forgive him for that, but
no, I think they both were kind of. I mean, like they said, it just looks like those ropes are always a little hotter for some reason. A little too much sweat. So,
and probably that's all it is. And like I said, when you saw everybody coming out for that segment, we knew what was about to happen. So, that'll get washed away.
Yeah.
And under the, he got the win and all that, and we're gonna forget that spot ever happened. But yeah, this is a match. LA Knights to lose, and the only one that gets the stick for this segment, and there's a reason for that, because everybody loves him. He is all about it, and this is it. We've been getting deprived of the Money in the Bank briefcase and the U.S. title opportunity, and everything's right there, and they haven't given it to us yet.
This is the carrot.
That's the carrot. Now it's time to grab it and give the man his moment. I like that he called out the Miz in his little monologue there, and because I've been talking about that talk show for how long,
Yep, you're right.
and I love it that he called him out because after we're done with this, he can pivot into doing something with the Miz because Miz easily offended, and while he's on Miz TV, calls out LA Knight, and they have a great stick war. So there's plenty of room for that. I love that Miz and LA Knight is involved in this, but there's only one winner for this. What everybody's saying, LA Knight. Yeah.
And make him the Slim Jim spokesperson, right? The Slim Jim Battle Royale. So I'm sure it'll probably not be any title opportunity, Greg. It'll be a lifetime supply of Slim Jims. Snap it to a Slim Jim, as a Macho Man used to say. So, but yeah, this is all LA Knight. I mean,
Yes, sir.
and then put him, let Escobar and Theory. They're not on tonight either. They'll, whenever they get their title match, then LA Knight goes after the US title. I mean that's the bigger that's the bigger fish to fry. So yeah, this is all LA Knight to win. And heck, just put they're all in there at the same time. Have them start clearing out a few people, and then take out Sheamus to end it or something like that, or the Miz. Take out the Miz. We can go that route. This one, Greg, I'm very interested in because of the MMA rules, which I know you're a huge MMA guy. How deep do you think we'll get, or how real do you think they'll let these two go?
As real as they want to. I mean, I think this is a moment where Triple H is going to just tell them, I trust you guys. You're that world better than I do. Do your thing. The rules, and
Keep each other safe.
and right, keep each other safe. But you can be as physical, you can be as violent, you can be as whatever as you need to be to tell your story. And I think he's going to give them all the rope that they need,
Yeah.
and we're going to actually get a banger out of Ronda and Shayna. So, like you said, we wish it was in the fight pit and just go whole hog with the field. But it is in a stadium, and to bring the fight pit to, logistically probably wouldn't work. It's not like having the cage above
Just put down.
to the send out of the Raptors, and I think Ford Field is I don't think it has a dome, or it might have a retractable dome.
Yeah, I think they have a dome.
But regardless, it would be too high to hold a fight pit. So I get why they're doing just MMA rules, and this is the best way for them to have a match as far as the realism, and they did a great job with the segments instead of having them do another live segment, recording it and rolling footage from their UFC days, and going real. Instead, this is Ronda's been doing this for her, not for me, and the story they told with that was great because it's real. And she did train with Ronda while she was on her UFC run, and she actually did start before Ronda. Everything they were saying in those segments was true. So that's going to make it even better, and I think we're going to get a really good payoff.
You going Shayna?
Yeah, we're going to call for Shayna, and I think this is it for Ronda. That's the last we're going to see of her, and what better way than put your best friend over on the way out the door, because they may be mortal enemies on TV, but she's Ronda's baby's goddaughter or godmother. So yeah, once this is over, they're gonna have some brewskis at the we call it Browsy Acres. So good into the story.
They might have to both heal up out there. Take a little R&R, but yeah, I think this is all Shayna. I mean, and like we said, the writing feels there that Ronda's going to go away. Now, I won't say gone forever. Who knows? You never say never. So I could see her doing another year off.
And seeing I think this might be it. I mean,
you think so?
Since that first her since she first came in and did that mega hot segment with Becky and Charlotte and
Yeah.
main event at WrestleMania. That was the hottest she ever was, and that was the most accepted as she ever was. And after that, everything went downhill, and everybody hated her, and nobody wants to see her, in the ring anymore. So, that 15 minutes of fame,
Was enough.
from it's over.
Now
Some people
I'll
can
go
come
the
from
opposite.
UFC and
Yeah. Sorry.
go into WWE and be great like Brock, and
Yeah.
it stays, consistent, and we appreciate it, and they stay a special attraction. But Ronda hasn't done that. She hasn't put in the time and the work, aside from a couple programs, and people are done with it. They're over it. So I think that's what's happening here. This may be, aside from maybe a one-off,
Yeah.
maybe the last we ever see of Ronda.
I only play up the idea that, maybe she wants her kid to see her wrestle. So,
Mhm.
maybe in a few years when the kid is, like legit, like old enough to remember these stuff. I mean, look at Goldberg. He wanted to come back to show his son he could still kick ass. So I think there's something there. Yes, you could show video. You could get on the WWE network and look at my matches, Greg, but there's always something more special if Ronda's in the ring, you have the kid outside, you have her husband with all of his,
Mhm.
baggage is what I've heard. But, you know, so who knows? And, like I said, I don't think it's going to be a big run. I mean, who's to say maybe Paul Heyman, Greg, couldn't be like, hey, I'm going to talk to Triple H. I'm going to get you. Because, like we've said before, if Heyman was hooked up with her, I think she really could have been going somewhere. So,
Yeah.
and she's 30, is she in her 30s?
Yeah, she's in
Young.
her 30s.
So, look at Trish. Still kicking ass at, I think she just turned, late 40s, or, maybe 50s. So, who's to say in a few years, Ronda just, doesn't get that itch and be like, okay. And who knows what upcoming women she might want to work with. So, but like we said, I think this is the last for a while, obviously. It just feels too much out there that, her to try, UFC again and see what she could do there, or try acting again. I don't know if
Yeah.
that might not. She might need some acting classes, like Cody Rhodes did in his documentary, which I'll bring up in my last call, Chris. But yeah,
Yeah, but nobody was a bigger Ronda Rousey fan than me
yeah,
when she was going through her UFC run and destroying everybody. And she was must-see TV when they had pay-per-views, and she was
yeah,
defending her title against the next big thing in her division. What seemed like every month, but it was like every 3, 4 months,
mhm,
and just smashing women.
yeah.
And I
Right.
loved her, and I was, I wanted all of the smoke with her, and all the, she became a mega star,
Yeah.
to steal the phrase, and uh, crossed over into pop culture, and she was, uh, you know, a face of, women's empowerment and all that,
Mhm.
for a good while. And once she lost her first fight
It just was
and
gone.
crossed over into UFC, I was like, okay, let's see it. We'll see what happens. And it did the great thing with uh, that first big feud with Charlotte and Becky, and with the send up to Roddy Piper, and the
Yeah.
wearing the kilt and everything. And that first one was great. And then even for me, once that program was over and she decided to spend more time, um, working on her game, and having more matches, and it just wasn't resonating. I mean, I wanted it to in the worst way, but it just, you could tell she wasn't in it, in it like everybody else. She's a big star. She's already made her name. She already made her money, and you can see she was just kind of in cruise control. She didn't work on her game, and
I
it
think it was
became
just
hard
too
for me
much
to watch after
exposure
a
of her
while.
too. Like if you would have kept her a little more limited, like look, well, and hey, my girl Liv, Greg, 3 wins over her, so Liv Morgan
Right?
will always have that on her cage match ranking or cage match standings. Whatever I forget what that site is called. That you can look up everybody's history of matches.
Yeah.
So, how about this one, Greg? This one I am going back and forth because I know Logan Paul. I almost feel like Logan Paul needs a win just to really get that heel heat going. But then Ricochet needs to win because that would help elevate Ricochet. So I think I'm going to pull for Ricochet in this one because I think Ricochet needs it more. You got to have Logan Paul type, say some excuse or, say he's going away and let Ricochet keep going, Greg. If Logan Paul wins, I won't be surprised though. You know what? Like it's a weird this. It's just an interesting feud, and I think they're really gonna. I think this is gonna elevate Ricochet. Hopefully, no matter what.
Hmm.
I don't know what that and it's hard to see what that means next because he's already won the U.S. title. I don't see him taking it off Gunther. I guess he could go after Gunther again, maybe when Gunther breaks the record, Greg, and then you need a challenger and that can play up, but it's hard to know what would be the next, kind of step up for Ricochet. But I think a big win over Logan Paul at SummerSlam would be a nice, really a good selling point for him. So, which direction are you going with this one?
I agree with you. Is that Logan Paul is? I think I speak for most of the universe where it's I wouldn't care if he never won a match. Um, he's got to show me a whole lot more to, get me on his side and root for him. And I think that may be part of the idea is just come over and, help put, the smaller stars over. Um, he's made his brand and his fortune, um, you know, calling out football players for boxing matches and off a YouTube show where he just, like LA Knight said, trying to impress 14-year-old girls. And it's, come in, he's had, a couple decent matches.
Yeah.
So, the guy's athletic, he is impressive. Um, but, you just don't feel him. He's got to put in a lot more time and a lot more years and to build up that equity with the universe.
Do you think we see him a lot more? Do you think we see him on a full out run? Like I know he's signed to a multi-year deal, Greg, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just kind of curious if that ends up being a, full out,
right. It could be
full time superstar. But
I know it could be a Brock Lesnar contract where he has to make like
yeah,
10 appearances a year
that's
kind of
probably
thing. That's what I'm seeing. And until he does make a run where he's week in, week out for a whole year,
yeah.
like everybody else, then, I don't need that on my TV. He's not good on the mic. This is the same tired, you know, run down your city, run down your football team, call your fans, you know, this crappy town, fill in town name here. It's the same old boring stuff that, you know, that guys use to get cheap heat off the crowd. He hasn't done or said anything that's, makes him stand out above the rest. We know his popularity and his reputation and what he does, but he hasn't done anything to really show out that he's, the star that he says he is, and the announcers are putting him over to be. But Ricochet can get a big feather in his cap for, putting that L on him and, improving his standing with the fans. Because I'm loving it that they're giving him some mic time and gives him time to develop his character, relate, and hit some chords with the crowd. And that's what you need. I mean, he needs that time to, be able to flex emotionally and verbally, in addition to what he can do in the ring. We know what he can do in the ring. He's amazing, but he needs that time. And I'm glad he's been getting that time, and he's been doing pretty well for himself. Are they the greatest promos? No, but you got to start somewhere. So this is the first time he's really had an extended amount of time to speak. So I'm glad he's getting that time now, and beating Logan Paul is going to be a huge feather in his cap and something he can ride that momentum onto the next thing. So I'm going to say Ricochet is going to win.
And did he get to do promos as Prince Puma back in the day, Greg, with your extensive Lucha Underground knowledge, or was he just kind of a masked wrestler who just came out and did his thing?
Prince Puma pretty much never spoke.
Okay.
So
I don't know in his independent days if he got to, so who knows? This could be the first big chance he's ever had to, really do a feud with some, legit stakes behind it. So, I still find it funny that he's no longer from Paducah, but that's okay. So,
and I like it that Logan Paul got the best of him in the last face-off between those two. The knockout punch, calling out his girlfriend, and getting personal with it. Ricochet is going to have some extra fire in his gut when this match starts.
Does Samantha get a shot in on Logan Paul?
Oh, I think before the end of this match, she will. Yeah.
A little slap, little taste, little Stephanie McMahon slap.
Right. He's going to go over and say something to her, and she's going to let him have it. So you can smell that spot coming.
Oh, man. All right. How about this one? Speaking of big, beefy slaps, Greg, how red will the chest of both guys be after this match?
Man.
How exhausted will they be? Because I think Drew wants to prove himself against Gunther, just like Sheamus did. And Drew and Sheamus already have a little, I'm sure, feud anyway, Greg, just personally and collectively. So you almost wonder if Drew wants to be like, hey, I hit, it's what was it I remember Major League when he's like, mine are all dead, but I shot mine harder or whatever, with the little Willie May Hayes video. So I can see Drew going into the back like, hey, I hit him harder than you, Sheamus. So this is all Gunther, though. Obviously, I don't think he's losing it till that honky tonk meter goes off, Greg. They got to start bringing that up soon because we're getting into 40 days away, I think. So you still are. Who was it that brought? Was that Santino that did the honkometer? I think
that sounds like a Santino thing. Yeah.
So he was close to it, but he never got close. So, but Gunther's got to break that record. It's too close to not to. So, and then I guess we'll see where Drew goes after this. I kind of feel like Drew's going to be in a holding period, Greg, until they get a read on if he's going to resign or, if they can come together. Yes, you got about, next year left, but I still think they want some picture in mind before they really, I think he's going to be starting to stop a lot, unfortunately. Because he already has kind of been anyway. I'd still like him to win big at WrestleMania, right? I mean, I feel like Drew has it. We're still waiting for that. He got to do it in the Thunderdome. Then he lost to Lashley the next year. Wins a Royal Rumble, in front of no crowd. So, for all the work that Drew's put in, I mean, he is due a big win, big title win at WrestleMania. So, what do you're not obviously not pulling the trigger on Drew winning tonight, right?
Yeah, it's very tempting to. Drew is the most. It's the scariest challenger he's had in his whole run, pretty much. And so I could see him winning the match. But I think it would do Gunther more at this point to beat Drew because, it's that street credibility. Just he's beaten the who's who. Everybody who comes for him gets put down, and the names get bigger and bigger and bigger. And Drew McIntyre is going to be a huge feather in the cap, the biggest feather in the cap right now. So I still think he's going to win. It's going to be, I think we're going to be tired watching the match, hearing those chops and those slams reverberate through your TV screen.
In a stadium. That really is going to be, just extra reverberation. So
exactly, it's going to sound amazing, I'm sure. It's not going to be somebody's, slapping their thigh while the blood's
Oh
going
yeah,
out. This is going to be the
this is gonna
real
be a
thing.
legit. Yeah, there's gonna be some
So,
hard hitting in this one.
yeah, this is the house
I
fight
just
of
don't
all
know who's
house
gonna
fights.
take off the title of Gunther. I mean, there's, it's. I mean, if Sheamus couldn't do it at Clash at the Castle win, I mean, that's still another call. I think he could have pulled the trigger on, but um, could Gunther do the old, retire, be like, I beat the record, I'm laying this down, vacating it, and moving on to bigger things. We haven't really seen that in a while. I think Asuka did that in NXT, Greg, but
Hmm.
I'd be okay with Gunther doing something like that. Like, there's no challengers left. I'm, I'm the final boss. It's like a Mortal Kombat game I won. So, um, yeah. How about this one? I'll let you kind of talk on it first, and then I'll give my thoughts.
All right.
Asuka, Charlotte Flair, and Bianca.
Yep. The matter is this the moment where we see a fourth person enter the story. So I'm sticking with my plan from um, day one. I've been manifesting it that this match was going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, Charlotte and Bianca get in each other's way in their title opportunities and cost themselves the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Asuka gets away with the wins, and the triple threat was inevitable.
Yeah.
Um, so now with this match, I think that this is the moment where we get the cash in. Um, I think that there's going to be that moment where everybody's down
Yeah.
and EO comes out probably with Bailey. I don't know
Oh, yeah.
where if Bailey ends up having their match or not, but um, comes out with Bailey and try to set it up so she can get the win. And we have a lot of false finishes with the cash in. Are they cashing in or are they not?
Yeah.
And so does it get truly cashed in is the big question. Um, so for the sake of this, I'm going to say that it doesn't.
Yeah.
We had that moment where she's almost going to do it and something's going to get screwed up. Bailey's going to mess it up and somebody's going to get knocked out and
Like
maybe
Asuka.
taking a
Asuka
swing
just
for Asuka and they hit Charlotte or hit
yeah,
Bianca and Asuka
rolls up.
scoops a pin
Yeah.
and slides out of the ring.
That seems to be the most logical way for this to end right
Yeah,
now.
but I think this is going to end up with EO and Asuka,
Yeah.
As the matchup because Bianca and Charlotte still have to have their one-on-one. So,
I mean, we could get months feud with them, and kind of
oh yeah,
and finally let Charlotte do something without a title on the line. And I mean,
right.
heck, even for Bianca, it's been a while since she's had a feud without a title on the line, Greg. So it could be big for both of them. Yeah, I think I totally agree with all what you're saying. I still hold my prediction that Bailey will cash in the top, the briefcase because she keeps bringing it up. Somehow she'll. I like the idea of maybe a cash in ahead of time. Payback. We're having
Mm-hmm.
Asuka and Io Sky for the title, but somehow I think a lot of shenanigans happen in this one. And like you said,
Yeah.
that whole idea of because somebody brought it up. Nothing beats when Carmelo was trying to cash in, and the referee was like, "What? You want to cash it?" And he took almost 5 minutes just to even go over to the announcer and be like, "She's cashing in," as he's slowly hammering on the briefcase, and Carmelo's like, "It was on Charlotte," and it's just sometimes they take the briefcase and cash in. Other times they're like, "Oh, you want to cash the briefcase in?
Right.
Let me walk slowly over to the ref and tell or the ring announcer to say, and then I'm like, okay, like,
Right.
let's be a
Like, they've
little
never seen a
consistent.
briefcase before. Like, what am I supposed to do with
Yeah.
this?
What? Wait, there's a contract in here. Oh no, there's only Shotzi's hair. Sorry, like that does not cash in. But yeah, I think you're completely correct in Io and Bailey coming down, interfering, or trying to get in this match, and Asuka sneaking out the win. That just makes the most sense. Because like you said, you could finally push off Bianca and Charlotte, let them finally feud legit, 1-on-1, and you can let that go. You could probably let that go through the fall. Maybe the Survivor Series or Royal Rumble. You could really build that up. So,
Yeah.
and then Asuka and Io. Now, Greg, does Io cash in? When all is said and done, is Io going to be our new champion at the end of it? Whenever she does or doesn't cash in.
Oof.
Nobody's failed as a woman. Cash in.
That's true.
Which
That's
is
true.
scary.
100%.
So kind of, but then you also have the Bailey factor. So like if Io failed, it could be because of Bailey, and you could play that up.
Right. Right. That streak is broken because of her, not because.
Not
Yeah.
because of Io.
So,
And I kind of think it's going to happen. I don't see Io as champion yet.
yeah. I have a hard time rooting against my girl Asuka. So, I'm saying she still goes home to the hotel tonight with the championship in her bag. So,
I think it's good, but I think ultimately it's going to be a failed cash in whenever it happens.
Yeah.
Not that Io's bad. Io's obviously fantastic in the ring. I just think I don't think they passed it off to another. If you got Asuka who's kicking ass, you're just going to pass it right to Io, who's her character's not much different than Asuka.
Right.
There's a little, obviously Asuka has a little more charisma, but I just don't know if people really see much difference in that. All right, what about this one, Greg? This one, man, this is another one. Like, I'm like on the side of Finn, but I know it's Seth Rollins, so it's a hard. This one's a toss up, I think, because you have the trigger pulled on Finn makes so much sense with how hot Judgment Day is. But we also know WWE doesn't always like to capitalize on hot things, Greg.
Right.
But you did it with Dom, and you have Money in the Bank for Damian Priest. I think now that they're on such a streak, we can wait on the friction. Really let them be built up as strong, and then play the maybe Damian Priest gets tired of it ultimately, but so against my better judgment, Greg, I'm going to call it. I'm going to say Finn for the win and the title.
Nice.
I think you have to let that come full circle, and I want to see Finn with a legit title run for once. So, but it wouldn't surprise me if maybe Finn wins without the title. And then that gives him the win, like a DQ win, or because Damian or maybe Dom or Rhea get involved, or so it keeps Finn still. Maybe he wins at Payback or something. But I'm going all in, Greg. Finn for the win and the title, and let Finn finally have a legit run, even if it's short. Hopefully it's longer than 24 hours. Let's be careful of the buckle bombs tonight. So, but yeah, and like we said, it's weird because Seth feels like he just won it. So I'd hate for the new title to have such a short beginning, Greg. But this story just makes too much sense for Finn not to win it.
Wow, I'm surprised. I thought you were going to go with Seth for sure.
I love me some Seth, and but
right.
And Seth does so well without titles anymore, Greg. But
he does. He does. I'm with you. Is that I'm pulling the figure on Finn too, just because it's too juicy a story not to do it.
Yeah.
And WWE has done this recently with the Bloodline. Everybody in the faction draped in gold. Where you had the Usos with the tag titles, Roman with the world titles, and they did that for a long while. Um, you did that with the Undisputed Era in NXT for a while. They had all the championships. So, it's been very recent history that they did not shy away from one faction holding all the power. And this story just writes itself with, Dominic has a title, and Rhea has a title, and Priest has a briefcase that he can cash in for a title shot. And then he put Finn, the leader, there with the world title. I mean, it's all right there, and you're gonna have the friction. In the meantime, you're gonna be able to all four of them standing in the ring, going, we won Raw, and this is why. Look at this championship briefcase.
They're literally running every brand.
Right. And said we are better than the Bloodline because we are controlling every brand. If they wanted to say something like that, they could, and they'd be right about it. And I love Finn, and I would love to see him get his moment with the title, to make up for 7 years ago, like he's been saying. This is going to be the best match of the night. I have no doubt about it. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call it for Finn, because that story is going to be great with all of them holding gold and Priest casting that side eye over at Finn, and we're all just sitting there waiting for when's the moment going to come. So,
and that
it's just too
NXT
good.
reset for Finn really helped him.
Yeah,
I think he's finally found that character to last, especially Judgment Day. But and now, granted, that first run on the main roster, I mean, he beat Roman. Like, I mean, that's and who's to say who's to say what that run could have been? But I think he, a couple years older, a couple years wiser. I think he's really found something he could, sink his teeth into, and that's helpful. So, yeah, but like we said, Greg, on the other side, if Seth wins, it's probably not going to be a big surprise somehow. So,
right. But there's going to be some shenanigans and Judgment Day getting involved, and he's going to get an assist in the win, but it's still going to happen from what I see.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, like we said, it just makes too much sense not to pull that trigger on it. So. How about this one? I think shenanigans galore, Greg, before the match starts. Since we don't have the stipulation, we have to have the fight beforehand, and then the whole, okay, now I'm going to ring the bell, like that old school. Brock will not bring a tractor this time, Greg, since it's not last man standing like last year. But I think we get a lot of leniency with the rules in this match. So, but it's got to be Cody. Like, there's no, Brock is Brock. He can go away. Cody needs to win, and then Bray Wyatt can come out and destroy his party. No. that's the big thing, Greg. I guess that's the rumble going on. But yeah, Cody's got to win. I did watch the documentary, Greg, and I jokingly said, and I did not finish the documentary of Cody Rhodes, Greg, because I was like, I don't want to see the ending because the story didn't end the right way. So we were not going to end this, but anyway. So yeah, Cody wins. Shenanigans galore. Leniency of the rules. Brock probably gets busted open.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, maybe his hand gets broken. He wins anyway. So yeah, that's how this match is going down for me. How about yourself, Greg?
Well, me, it's like Team Brock to the day I die. It's like, I love Brock, and I'm glad they're not, Goldberg and Brock, where, you put him in against, just have him jobbing for everybody. Because Brock is still a special attraction, even now in his 40s. The guy is still a killer, and he can still put on a barn burner of a match because he's that dude. We know his legitimacy: NFL, UFC, NCAA championship, all of it. And we know he is the legit of the legit of, everybody on the roster. That's the guy. And they're using that star power, that cachet that he has perfectly. Putting him up against, the biggest star, the biggest baby face. And, even when he beats him, he's putting Cody over because, you're getting that sympathy for him and everybody, trying to lift him up. And that's just the power of Brock. I mean, people will pay to see Brock. I mean, um, guys like Goldberg, that's a dead age. Nobody cares anymore. You don't have to pump in noise into the crowd when Brock comes out. People are gonna pop as soon as they see him. So me, I still love it because I'm a Brock Lesnar guy. If it was on the T-shirt, I'd be wearing it.
But come on, Greg, just pull the trigger. Brock, we know you love him, but come on.
I know.
If Brock wins this, what is the point? I mean, are you really like? I feel like then we're just doing the Cody Rhodes like redemption story. Like, do we have to, like where would Cody go again? Like,
right. I'm trying to give myself a narrative to where Brock wins and Cody, complete the story for Cody too.
Yeah. That's a lot of
that maybe Brock wins and then Bray comes out to pick the bones and there's his big win against the monster. But I don't like that story either. So
I was gonna say you're really not giving me any confidence in that at all, Greg. We know each other pretty well through the screen, and now he can even tell you're trying to talk yourself into that one.
I know. I hate seeing my guy Brock lose more than anything, but I'm gonna say it, begrudgingly that Cody is gonna win this match, but it's gonna be one of those, of the 20 minutes that they're there, only the last 6 minutes occurred in the ring or stuff like that because it's gonna be wild and all over the place.
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of since they didn't give us the stipulation, and I'm still confused on that. Like, and I guess because of this one, Greg, since we're having this as tribal combat, we have the MMA rules. Maybe they didn't want to have, it would have felt like every other match was, extreme rules. But I think this one's going to be another. It also going to be interesting too, Greg. Like the placement of matches. You don't want to put Cody and Brock right before this one. Because of all the shenanigans. Right. Like it's going to be very interesting. This. I think the placement of matches. We're going to need that downtime between matches. So
right.
This one though, I think this is going to be. I don't think this gets as wild as we think, Greg. But I still feel like a lot of chair shots, tables. Maybe that necklace, the tribal wear. I think Paul Heyman helps. Because we got to remember, Greg, he's not barred from the ring. He's not Samoan, so he can play some shenanigans. But Roman for the win. I mean, there's little doubt in my mind. Maybe a 0.1%. I mean, Jay winning that that would have finished the story. I mean, this has been years in the making, Greg. But like we said, if they didn't let Cody finish the story, I mean, unless Roman, really maybe Roman has the creative controls. Like, hey, I want my cousin to go over me. I think it would be interesting to see Jay as champion. I'd probably consider it like Kofi's run, Greg, where we're just so used to them being a tag team specialist. I'd really have to see how they could carry on their own as champion. Kofi had all the momentum. You could thank Ali for that. Actually, thank Orton for hurting Ali because who's to say Mustafa Ali wouldn't have been, against Daniel Bryan and whatnot. But this is all Roman for me though, and I think plenty of shenanigans in this one too. It's going to be maybe this should have been shenanigans slam instead instead of SummerSlam, because I feel like we're going to get a lot of, leniency of the rules and stuff. So, but Roman winning. I mean, if The Rock shows up, though, this would be a time, or like if he's already there in the building, Greg, why not? So,
Mhm.
a little stare down. So, but this is going to be the main event. Oh, sorry, one of the main events, Greg.
Right.
They're playing that up tonight, but whatever goes on last is the main event. So,
Exactly.
that was going to be my running joke. I was going to be like, this main event, Greg, is Ronda versus Shayna. This main event is Logan Paul versus Ricochet, because they've definitely pumped the gas on main events plural, because they're saying Cody and Brock is the main event. They're saying Finn and Seth Rollins is the main event, and obviously we're going to say this was the main event. So 3 out of the 7 matches scheduled tonight, Greg. Triple main event. But yeah, and I guess UFC does that though, right? They're kind of big on this main event.
Well, they do main event and co-main event.
Okay,
so
sorry. Yeah.
you have 2 fights
Bigger
where
matches.
there's titles on the line.
Yeah.
They'll call it a co-main event.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
what's your kind of take on this possible final match between the two?
well, I agree. There's going to be way too much going on. I'm trying to, like Brock, paint a scenario where Jay can win and how it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Because continuing the bloodline story with Jay with the necklace on,
Yeah.
that would be a reason to watch right there. See what happens different. It's like when we, well, I was gonna say when we get a new president, but nobody really is watching to see what difference it's gonna make.
Yeah.
When there's a change in power, and you want to see what how the new compares to what the other guy was doing.
Yeah.
And it would be a huge difference. So that aspect would be interesting. But I still don't see how it goes down and makes sense with this whole story, because I don't see Jay as being the guy to supplant Roman as tribal chief yet either. I like it. I think that if it wasn't for the tribal combat rules, in the sense that no other Samoan can get involved, that I think Jay would win, because we haven't seen Jimmy for weeks now, and I think this would be the moment where we would see Jimmy, and a well-placed super kick when Roman's not looking. We have a new champ.
Can we do a ref bump where Jimmy shows up?
We could.
We could. Might.
But they've been playing up the significance and how sacred tribal combat is. So then that squashes the idea of that happening.
That's true. Because you would need Solo to come down too.
Right.
Because why would unless you play it up as like Roman told Solo, if I'm getting my butt kicked out there, you're staying in the back.
Yeah. Right. And good job on that package. They showed with Alpha and Sika and the whole, the ancestors explaining how important the lei is and what the name of the flower is or whatever it is. Explaining that, and laying it out, and giving more detail on that, and showing that it goes back through history with them, showing that old footage. That was pretty cool. But I agree with you. Unfortunately, Roman's still going to win the match, and Heyman's going to have a big part to do with that, I'm sure. So, just like I think the match with Kevin Owens pops to mind, and they handcuffed him to the trellis, and it was a last man standing match, and Kevin literally could not get up. So, something like that goes down, and Jay gets knocked out, and that's it, or something.
We're off and running with Roman. heading towards those big numbers. I mean, there's some. He's already hit some impressive numbers already, Greg, but still crazy to think. Top 5 ever in length. Like that's we're not just saying top, not modern era. I mean, this is hitting into all time eras. So that is crazy to think how far Roman's come. I mean, we got to give him a lot of yeah, his first the Shield run was fantastic. Then he got shoved down our throats and nobody was buying it. Gets the leukemia diagnosis. Greg comes back, has to go away, comes back. Like we said 3 years ago at SummerSlam, and is off and running. I mean, that's quite the that's quite the career. That's its own documentary needed. So
Right.
it is. I think SummerSlam tonight is going to be a lot of fun. I feel like, and like we said, we might see returns that we hadn't even thought about. Just because there's names out there that is probably lurking that we haven't even thought about. So I just wanted to finish a couple thoughts on the Cody documentary. I think the most interesting thing, when there's always the trailer where he's like, I don't want you to edit this part out. Don't even edit this. That's when he was talking about AEW. And he said it was a personal reason, and that's all he's going to get into. So I'm very interested to hear. Well, we might never hear, but and this ties into the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Hangman Page because they all re-signed Greg, and so they're definitely AEW for life. Now, part of me thinks Hangman is still late 20s, maybe Hangman down the road. The next contract, who's to say? But I kind of think the Young Bucks. I think they're kind of like in that AJ Styles mode where, okay, we're going to just sign maybe they'll set a short year, term deals after this big one. And who's Omega's probably in the same boat. So very interesting. But then I think Cody was mentioning he talks more to the Young Bucks and Omega now than he did in AEW, which is very interesting as well. So maybe time away makes the heart grow fonder, as they say, Greg. Maybe being business partners was too much. I think both companies, they're better for where they're at because of those people. So, but there's no doubt I still would have loved to see Omega mix it up just to see what he could do in WWE ring or the Young Bucks. But we'll never see it, and that's okay. They're making their money and they're doing what they need to do, and that's what ultimately matters the most. So, have you got a chance to watch the Cody documentary yet, Greg?
I have not yet, and I'm going to probably this week. Since we went to that house show, the girlfriend she's on Cody.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We saw the trailer.
Your time to sit down and both of you could watch it.
Yeah, watch it together, and we watched the trailer, and she was real interested. I'm like, okay, we're gonna sit there and watch it, and she's off out of state again this weekend, but we'll get back and watch it sometime during this week.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see because it looks like a great trailer, and there's a who's who in there, talking it up in some of those segments. And if he's gonna, go into talking about AEW, that's forbidden fruit that's in WWE. So that right there is enough to watch on its own. So and seeing how great they did, especially the Ric Flair special. That thing had me choked up watching it. So I know that it's going to be just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
Calling back to Dusty and showing, young Cody and all that stuff. So I'm excited to see it for sure.
And he gets into like all the Stardust run, especially at the end of where he was just kind of broken. So, interesting note. Xavier Woods was in high school the same time as Cody, and Xavier Woods always wanted to wrestle Cody in high school because Cody was so good in high school. So, pretty interesting nugget there. I don't think they never got to mix it up though. I don't know if Xavier Woods was like a year younger or so. but they never got to because Cody, I think, won a couple high school titles. And and then he said at the end of his high school career, the bow that Stardust used to do, he actually did that bow at the end of his high school run and like did a little curtsy type bow. And it was announced as Cody Rhodes instead of Cody Runnels. So that was interesting little nuggets there. So and then like we said, I think the AW signing to keep Hangman, Young Bucks, and Omega, that was huge. You had to. That's your foundation. If they go away, Greg, I don't know if AW, you'd really have to figure out what you're going to do. So, and they were all going to stay together. That's the biggest thing. So,
right.
Anything else for the good of the matter on your end of last call, Greg?
Well, I'm going back to, what, surprises are we going to get today?
Yeah. Okay.
Because, I've heard the rumors about Bray Wyatt targeting somebody, and we've talked about the matches that haven't even been announced, that like the Trish and Becky match.
Well, remember that will be on the 11th. They did announce.
Okay, they did move it to Canada.
Sorry.
Yeah,
they're moving it to Canada because Becky's like tweeting from some Florida place or something. There are a bunch of palm trees. So unless she's really swerving us, Greg. And then I wonder if Shotzi and Bailey's probably just be a SmackDown, episode.
I thought there was going to be a hair match thrown into the mix.
Now that you do have, Beck or Shotzi with the Clippers, you could pull that trigger.
Exactly.
Her hair grew back. Sorry, Shotzi did. I thought she'd be bald. She's just, more of a kind of a fade, a tube.
Right. But I think there's going to be some new, some old new faces. Coming back. Like I said, I hope the Bray Wyatt is true, because that guy is an amazing talent, and he's gonna be great. If he's all there, I don't know if he's having mental health issues, or if he was actually injured, or why we started him and then he just disappeared from view so soon after. So if he is back, I hope he's 100% right and ready to go, because I miss seeing him on the TV.
Especially mentally. If you're not into it, that's part of the battle. That's
exactly. So it would be great to see him back. So I'm going to wish that into existence, that we see him tonight. And then I have my theory for the biggest return of the night.
Goldberg?
And you're good. You got jokes. You will never hear me say I want to see Goldberg do anything. And this solves our problem with the main event too.
Okay.
And I'm calling for the return of Randy Orton.
Oh, okay.
And he can be the wild card in the title match, because what was the last match we saw him in?
It's Roman, right?
RK Bro against the Usos for the championship. And that was the match where the whole bloodline destroyed him and Riddle and put him out of the shelf, or put him on the shelf for this entire time. That was the last match.
Okay.
They beat him down. They, put him on the shelf, and this would be the perfect moment for him to come out of the crowd, RKOs, and maybe Roman has a fingertip on Jay's bicep or something, and gets the cover, but Randy's standing there over both of them going, "You got receipts coming." And
you could do a Orton Roman feud in the meantime until you're figuring out who.
There you go. And we're talking about guys who could legitimately beat Roman and we'd be happy about it. Returning Randy Orton.
Get number, what would he be on?
So, yeah,
13? He's
I
up
think
there.
yeah, for sure. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we could all buy Randy Orton beating Roman for the championship. So,
And like you said, I hadn't thought about Orton. Like that would be quite a shock to kind of see him back, and obviously he's been in the right mindset for a while. People talk about what's been the best Orton run. I mean, probably this late, the last 3 or 4 years ish. This real, I think he's finally figured it out. He got everything working. How to put over young guys, because that's what that's him and Cody are kind of in that same boat. Orton came up at 21, and he wasn't ready for it, but you could tell that. So
but the RK Bro run was amazing. The program they had with Edge, when Edge came back, was amazing. And he's got it. He's got the thing, and we would love to see him be that guy that supplants Roman. And he can easily carry the company and just have him. Like I said, he's going to have all that anger and that, turn him into, that assassin that he used to be, and just let him destroy everybody for a good long while. And, whether, he's more evil than he was when he left, we're still going to cheer the crap out of him.
I guess you wonder if maybe Edge could come back. We haven't seen Edge in a while. Did we get a one-on-one for Roman and Edge ever?
No, I don't think we ever got a one-on-one. We had, multi-man matches, the triple threat, but I don't think we ever saw the one-on-one.
I don't know, and that gets Edge away from, Judgment Day and all that. So, I don't know. Guess it'd be kind of interesting. We're both going for, past relics, but past good relics, to come back. And
right.
Not that other relic. So.
Not the washed up relic.
That relic I've not seen a lot of news on, Greg. So I wonder if the AEW stuff fell through. So, but yeah. By the way, I guess we'll get into it a little more next week. But first thought on Adam Cole, MJF, shenanigans at the end of that match.
Or the lack of shenanigans. Like what? What's the?
Yeah. I meant for the match upcoming. Like, is that where the trigger is going to be pulled on somebody turning the knife in the back in Wembley Stadium?
It's got to be. It's a big enough platform for that to happen and have it be the whatever heard around the world, the screw job heard around the world.
It's still got to be cold, doesn't it? Doing the turning.
Yeah, but it's weird seeing Max cheered because we're used to booing him and loving to hate him. But it would be the greatest thing ever to have the roles reversed and Adam Cole be the guy. So that's another twist in the story that we didn't expect, that we would love to see, and have Adam Cole be the bad guy and MJF as the hero. What? We're not used to that at all.
And I don't know if Cole would win the title. I don't know if he'd win the title, but somehow, I don't know. It just feels like, that needs a. And then tonight we'll get Ricky Starks and CM Punk for the real World Championship. Do you think we're going to have two legit champions, Greg, on AEW now?
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to do the WWE version of the Universal Champion and the Heavyweight Championship.
Until you're ready to unify them down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it though that Punk could just carry around his old championship in his bag. Goes, I'm the real champion.
Him and Orange Cassidy might need to hook up and get a little, couple bags together. That's going to be the new way for AEW to separate themselves. If you just carry a little bag. So it's a weird thing. And shout out to the Elite also for the little
wink, wink, nod, nod. You know, we might be Collision guys
Oh
too.
yes,
You
yeah.
know,
Omega said that. Yep.
that was great. So you know, there's the first Easter egg right there.
I mean,
Um,
and you got so much money there, Greg, that you could do like
oh yeah,
Omega Punk, like that. That could really do something for it.
just printing money. Take my money. Here's my
Take my
wallet.
money,
Take it.
as they
Yep,
say. So
we will take it. So it's curious to see if they're going to do that and do this, you know, champion over here, champion over there.
yeah,
Um, I don't want them to because they're still doing the showing the ROH type championships and defending
there's a
those, and
lot of titles, and there's a
there's
lot
a
of
lot of
titles right
title.
now. Yeah,
And you know, it's to WWE to say we're going to have a champion on this brand and champion on that brand. You know, the champions are going to go where the matches are, regardless if Dynamite, Rampage, or whatever. And so to have two separate champions on two separate shows, like WWE is doing, you know, you're trying to set yourself apart from them, but you're doing what they're doing. So, um, you know, Punk can say he's the real champion as much as he wants to, but until he and MJF have their face
unification.
off, you know,
And
it's like the FTW championship. It's not official. We're not going to recognize it as that.
yeah, we didn't even get into Rob Van Dam. At least he came back to more human than human, Greg. That was pretty cool to hear that, the old ECW theme come back for Rob Van Dam.
No, he used Walk by Pantera.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Who am I thinking of? Somebody had more human than human.
Oh, you're talking about Edge, wasn't? Didn't Edge use more hearing than hearing?
No,
Once
I
upon a
think
time.
ECW guy did it.
Okay, or maybe it was Sherry Lynn.
It could have been. I don't know. Either way,
But yeah, Rob Van Dam
Walk.
was
That's
using
Walk.
Walk,
Yeah.
so I'm like that's not a song I'd attribute to RVD, but it sounded cool.
Yeah. Oh well, I'll have to look. I'm very curious. I need to figure out who did. I know somebody had that, but anyways, yeah. But the Rob Van Dam and Jack Perry will go at it. I don't know. Rob Van Dam still just every once in a while just looks old, Greg.
He did.
I mean, walking down the ring. I mean, yeah. So.
Yeah, he looked like he's been having a few extra brownies, and
Yeah.
no,
I'm sure he had a couple brownies before.
brownies, chips. You know, he had all the munchies. He does not look like the RVD I used to know for sure. But hopefully he can
hey,
still
he's
go.
doing his thing though. He's got a wife and a girlfriend, Greg. So he's doing life okay. I think
life's good for him.
Life
Okay,
is good for him. So yeah. But anyways, so all right. Well, hey, I gotta give myself the Rob Van Dam thing because I did call that.
You did.
I called for Rob Van Dam because I was like, well, Jerry Lynn can't go. I mean, you look at Jerry Lynn, right? He can't go. Taz can't go. So it's like, who else was left?
Yeah.
Tommy Draper might not have been available. Bully
Yeah.
Ray's doing his thing in Impact, sorry. So yeah. All right, well we'll end it right there. Thank you for watching. We'll be giving you the results as we go through the night, and we'll enjoy the evening and keep it real, as they say.